In the sweepingly majestic, cinematic, and profoundly human historical masterpiece, 1776, two-time Pulitzer Prize winner and acclaimed historian David McCullough delivers a definitive, tour de force narrative of the most critical year in the founding of the United States. The book masterfully utilizes a military survival and revolutionary trial framework. Instead of offering a broad, abstract overview of the entire Revolutionary War, the text zooms in with microscopic detail on the harrowing 12-month period that began with the optimistic siege of Boston and nearly ended with the total annihilation of the Continental Army in the frozen fields of New Jersey. The plot centers on George Washington, an untested, deeply stressed commander-in-chief leading a ragtag, undisciplined militia of farmers, shoemakers, and teenagers against the world's most formidable military machine. Following a sequence of catastrophic defeats, near-miss escapes, and internal betrayals in New York, the fledgling American rebellion is driven to the absolute brink of extinction, setting the stage for a desperate, zero-margin-for-error winter gamble. McCullough's signature prose is exceptionally vivid, narrative-driven, and dripping with a deep appreciation for primary source material, drawing extensively from diaries, personal letters, and military logs from both the American and British sides. The narrative employs a highly dynamic, chronological campaign structure, tracking the physical and psychological toll of 18th-century warfare on legendary leaders like Henry Knox and Nathanael Greene, as well as the ordinary barefoot soldiers freezing in the trenches. McCullough expertly weaponizes the underdog survival and tactical gambit formulas, keeping the historical tension dialed to an absolute maximum, despite the reader already knowing the outcome. Far from a dry, sanitized textbook history, the volume functions as a raw, beautifully textured study on the fine line between hubris and strategic brilliance, the psychological weight of crushing defeat, and the ultimate, terrifying realization that the birth of a nation hung entirely on a few days of sheer luck, weather shifts, and unbreakable human resolve. The audiobook format is an absolute masterclass in narrative nonfiction performance, leveraging McCullough's own legendary warm and deeply authoritative vocal delivery to bring the sights, sounds, and visceral terrors of the Revolution to life. His cadence masterfully anchors the narrative's changing frequencies, perfectly translating the frantic panic of the retreat from Brooklyn, the arrogant confidence of King George III's court, and the solemn, frozen desperation of the crossing of the Delaware. The exceptional auditory pacing turns complex troop movements, legislative debates, and thunderous naval bombardments into an incredibly addictive audio experience that flows magnificently through headphones. It is an essential, mandatory listen for history purists and biography enthusiasts who crave the rich character depth of Ron Chernow, combined with the cinematic pacing of a high-stakes war thriller. By the time the final chapters recount the shocking, tide-turning victories at Trenton and Princeton, you will realize that 1776 is an untouchable triumph, a brilliant, smoke-stained map of absolute resilience and the true, agonizing cost